Hey everybody, I'm stuck in the past, and I don't know how this is going to go, but it's going to be interesting nonetheless, and that's why I'm going to film it. So all the way out there on the rest of the property, we just put up another field, and we need to move a run-in shed that I've already built for the other horses into the field we just built. The problem with it is moving a run-in shed isn't super easy because it's not exactly on skids or on wheels. So I've been trying to figure out a way how to do that, and I thought I'd maybe jack it up and just put it on a trailer, or maybe out of some of the wood we have here I was going to maybe try to make some skids, but really the wood we have isn't really viable for this, and the trailers I have are probably not going to work too good. Like this one, for example, is a little too high off the ground, and jacking a trailer up all the way there is going to be kind of rough. Anyway, I came back here, and I mean, usually when you buy a big piece of property, stuff comes with it. Well, these pieces here came with it. I got looking at this elevator and got to thinking, man, that frame is really close to the ground. And even though the tires are in, well, half the cases, the other side has no tire. This one doesn't have a tire. It has a tire, but it's, you know, flat. It's still better than a skid because it will turn, theoretically. And all this thing's attached to is up here on this pivot point. Everything else that attaches it to the frame is either broken or missing. So I'm going to just go ahead and take this frame and jack the trailer up, or not the trailer, rather, the shed, and I'm going to just attach it to the front here with straps, and then it can just ride on this portion, which is just kind of sitting here pivoting anyway, and that should make it so I can move the shed. It'll all kind of make more sense when I do it, but let's see what happens. It might be pretty interesting. So first step is we got to get the elevator off, and again, I'm going to just grind off whatever's mounting it to the front here, which I don't think is much, and then just kind of shove it off, and it can just stay here until I come back to scrap the rest of this stuff. I hate to scrap this thing, and I'm still kind of wondering if I will, but it really doesn't serve much purpose. It's an old Case rotary style side delivery rake, but it's kind of just past its time. Somebody had updated it in the past, put some rubbers on it, but it's still just kind of, I think it's a little too far gone. With that being said, maybe somebody would be interested in some yard art or something, so I don't know. We'll see what happens to this. But anyway, enough rambling. Let's get this thing done. So as it turns out, it appears it's quite rusted, but I don't think we're lost for hope yet, although this tree has a real hold on this thing. I looked at it and it didn't look like it was actually in the tree, but apparently it is quite in the tree still. Somehow it really doesn't look like it is, but it looks like it grabbed onto one of the paddles for the elevator, and that's where we're stuck. But that's almost a good thing, I think, because since the hitch is rusted off completely and the frame is still kind of attached, in theory I could just wrap a chain or something around the frame itself and then just pull the frame out from under it and then just use it that way. This doesn't have to be fancy, it just needs to move the shed. So I think we're going to try that. So I just pulled it down a little more again. It looks like, well, part of my problem is the frame is still kind of trying to hold on down here. So I think what I'll do is cut that, maybe try to take the tractor and pull it sideways in some shape, form or another, because that came off, which is kind of good. And then what will probably end up happening is this whole thing will be used kind of more or less in reverse, because at that end there's a pulley that used to be attached to the system that raised and lowered the elevator, and it's all still together and relatively rust free. So I'll probably end up hooking that end to the tractor, and then this end will just skid, and then the shed can rest on this end, and of course on the front side with axles as well. So I think that might be the way. It's almost going to be like a set of forks in a way. So it'll be something, that's for sure. But all right, let me get this thing cut and see what happens when I do that. Well, my camera kind of died there in that portion, but got it back now. So got that cut off. So theoretically, I should be able to just kind of roll this off, maybe with a chain or something, and hopefully anyway. And then I should just be able to kind of pull this frame out and be done with it. So let's see what happens. So for lack of better phrasing, I got creative. Basically, I just pulled it around the corner and it ended up like this, sideways, which is fine because ultimately I want to be attached to this end anyway. So I'm going to put the chain on that and I should just be able to pull it right on out. So maybe now we can finally get to moving the shed. Join me for that. So after some effort, now we can go on back up to the farmstead area and figure out the new task of jacking up a shed and sliding this frame under it. I have high hopes. I think we'll do just fine. So now what we have to do, since we're going to slide this under a shed, is measure how tall that tire is, because it's the tallest one, for obvious reason. And basically, one end of the shed has to be at least that height. The other end of the shed doesn't have to be any higher than the frame itself because obviously it's not going fully under. So basically the idea here is that the shed will rest somewhere back here on this frame, somewhere up here on this frame. And my idea is that I can get the shed basically right on the wider section here, and it's more or less like 3 points of contact at that point. And I'm going to do some straps around the frame of this and the shed, so that way it doesn't like shift around or fly off. Not that we're moving super fast, but theoretically this should work out pretty good. Better than a skid, I think, but it was certainly a lot of effort, so hopefully it'll be worth it. So far, we're getting her jacked up pretty good. Kind of funny how it messes with your head to be inside a building that's leaning pretty hard. But so far so good, we're getting up there. And then once this thing's up high enough, then we're gonna just pull the machine out in here. I gotta go up at least another cinder block plus on the corner there. I don't like how unlevel that is, so we're probably gonna do something about that. But for now, we're getting there. Alright, well, that's how far we've gotten. I think we're ready to go ahead and slide the frame under there and see what happens. So far so good. Yes, I call that a resounding success. We made it, and there was minimal damage done to the property in the process, and that's more or less what the goal was anyway. So now we have to jack this thing back up, get it over those tires, and I'll probably do nothing for the back as far as jacking it up goes, except take it off the cinder blocks, because it should just slide out from underneath there. And then it'll be in place. Then over the course of the next couple of days, I'm going to go ahead and tin the sides and try to shore it up a little bit so it's a little straighter, and we should be back in business. Yeah, and just like that, it's where it needs to be. So, it may not be the smoothest way to move a shed, but it certainly worked. Now, we just have to dress the shed back up, put some tin on it, make it a little bit fresher, maybe do some shoring, but the shed should be good to go for years to come. So, thanks for watching Stuck in the Past. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Have a good one.